Okay, so that's how I make my key levels of support and resistance in video 1. Video 2, the example, I give you an example of that. So let's move on to the next thing I do when I'm day trading. I do this every single day. This is what I do. Okay, I make sure I got the post market and pre market data showing up. And I'm going to just go back to this day here, and I'm going to give you uh, the way that I do my pre market zone. Now, I know you guys hear me talking about pre market zone a lot, and you're like, what is that? Well, I'm about to show you because this is the next thing that I do. Okay, I go down to the 1 minute, and about, let's say, when I'm walking in from the gym, probably about 5:45 to 6 somewhere, or if I'm a little late coming in after 6, this is the thing that I do. This is to set up my pre-market zone. Now, notice already that my lines of resistance are still here, okay? Because remember, I went up a ways and went down a ways. So now, this is the second thing I do when I come in the morning. I come open this chart and, all right, let's get it. Let me see. So come here, come down to the rectangle. You guys got to forgive me because I'm new to recording, all right? And I don't really know if I particularly like it, but it's all right. But I'm not used to doing this while recording. I'm used to just coming in here and getting it. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the top. See all these guys up here? I'm gonna come down to the top of the furthest one at the top. That's gonna be my resistance. Then I'm going to come down to the furthest one on the bottom. That's going to be my support. I don't care if one's up way over here and the furthest one down is over here. Wherever's the furthest up and down is how we're going to pull this out, and then we come across. Now that is my pre-market zone. I will stretch that out to about 629, and I will sit there and watch that until the market opens. And if I'm like really watching it, trying to decipher which way the market's going to go when it opens, then I will, sit there and do other things to break that down. But if I'm not, let's say I'm late, just coming in, whether I'm late or not, this is what I'm going to do. Okay. Now, after that, I'm going to get something that I learned from it. I don't know if it was Ross or Sean. Uh, I look here and I see 276.63. I take about the middle of the pre market zone. And let me grab my whiteboard real quick and I write that number down. And that number, as you can clearly see, is 276.63. Okay, 276.63. And what I do is come over here and I go from the top of the pre-market zone. This is called a measured move, by the way, okay? Top, and I come down to 276.63. All right, let's go to 276.60. Well, let's skip it from 2 to 4. I'll take 2, no problem, okay? So, as you can notice, the color of my pre-market zone, all right, is this funky green right here. That's just so I can know throughout the day as I'm moving it. You see it looks gray? That's just so I can look at it, glance, and tell that's my pre-market zone. Okay, so now my first measured move here, I came down halfway, okay? And now I'm going to clone that. Or actually, you know what? Let me fill it in first. I'm going to make it white. That's the color I make it. And I'm going to leave the border of it black so that you can see it because it kind of disappears when you get into the day. So now I'm going to go ahead and clone that. And then I'm going to take that move and I'm going to slide that move down. I'm going to line up the lines. I'm going to set one line on top of the other and put that right there. And I'm going to take this guy, put this guy right here, and now I have my measured moves. Now, what these are, or anyway, how I use them is I like to look at the pre-market and I like to see what went on in the pre-market. I like to look at stuff like this, and then I will go check dark pool data against this. Okay. And as I look for pressure, buy pressure zones and sell pressure zones, which is going to be another video, that helps me kind of determine if this thing's going to go down or is it going to go up. And as you can see, my key level lines running through there. Okay. Now, pre-market is kind of crazy. So these things I'm showing you now, don't try to decipher anything about the pre-market from what I'm showing you that I do. Because pre-market is a whole nother world amongst itself. Okay. So I just like to see the data from pre-market, and I like to see if the things they did in pre-market is going to control the day. That's my whole theory about the pre-market. Okay. So the measured move is half of my pre-market. All right. Now, this measured move, usually what'll happen is if the stock goes up or it goes down, it usually will run to the top or the bottom of this measured move. Okay. It hits it a lot. So that's why I like to use it. All right. So if you look over here, and if I extend this measured move out, look at that. Right about here. Look at it, hit it. It's not going to do this every single time, so I don't count on it, but it's just another point, another couple key levels, and another zone that I use to kind of tell me. So this coming out the gate, just breaking down here, hits the top of my measured move. It retracts, comes back, breaks through into my measured move, starts breaking down, moves sideways, breaks down again, and it just keeps slowly breaking down. And look at, we're at the bottom of my measured move. Okay. And then now we're extending the measured move. Now we broke the support of the measured move and actually came below it. And what's below the measured move? Oh, that day support there. See that? This is how these things work. We broke day support, came back to day support, and we're bouncing back and forth. Blah, blah, blah. We're into the post market. Okay. Now, if you come up here, extend this out, you can clearly see nothing happen above the pre-market today. Okay. Then if I come back here and I'm looking at the pre-market, I'm kind of noticing that came up, it hit the top of the pre-market, and it came down and it went down ever since. So this was a bearish day. Okay. Now, don't think that this works for me every single time. It doesn't, but it works a lot. Okay. So I used it. There you go. So that's my pre-market and my measured moves. And that's how I'm thinking about them. And to me, that's how they work. So, all right.